It was a beautiful day in the city of Atlanta, or that general area, kind of around there, or something like that. Definitely no zombie apocalypses or anything like that, but it turns out that there was a man who was driving, and it was Solid Snake, but you can just pretend that he's Rick Grimes in the story, because I kind of need to do that. Anyway, he was going over to a gas station. He was like, oh, wait, hold on, I see a person. Is that a person? And I know that's Iceman, I get it, but still. Excuse me, not dead person, are you okay? But then the zombie Iceman girl was going, and he was actually a dark character, and I know what, I just changed the color so that it would look kind of more like a zombie or something like that. And then he started trying to attack Rick, because that's bad. Hey, excuse me, whoever you are, I don't want to shoot you or anything like that, he said, but then he was going closer because he was a zombie, couldn't think of it himself or anything like that. And then Rick was like, poof, and then he shot the Iceman zombie thing, and then he died. Or it, she, whatever it was. This is a really bad event. Flashback time. So then it flashed back to when Shane and Rick were talking, and Shane was like, let me ask you something, Rick. How's things with you and Lori? Things went bad. We were arguing, and she was like saying, like, do you even care about us in front of Carl? It was really bad. And he was like, oh, wow, that's really bad. I'm sorry about that. Did you let your feelings out or something? He was like, no, I didn't really do that. I'm not all that good at that, honestly. But then all of a sudden he got a call on his radio saying that there's some bad stuff. He's like, there's some bad stuff at some car that was robbed or something like that. And they set up a trap at some road. It was really great. Leon, the police officer, was like, hey, you should be on some sort of car show, I hope. And Shane was like, yeah, I agree with that. Shane Fooker's away, by the way. So then the police people, the criminals were going over, but then they went over and they hit the trap, and then they flipped over. All things were good for a little bit, and they were like, hey, we're going to shoot you if you try anything against us, because they had these huge guns. I have no idea where they got them from. But anyway, then they start shooting at them because they're the bad guys in this story for now. And they hit Rick, but don't worry, he's okay. And he was like, I'm going to kill you with this weapon, because he got his like giant bazooka thing, and then he killed both of them. And it was really good because now the threat was bad, or good, I mean better. He was like, good thing that didn't hurt me. But then the other third guy was actually starting to shoot at him, because that's bad. But then Rick fell over and he actually got hurt. He was like, I'll kill you too. And then he shot the thing at him, and then they all died. The end for them. But then he was like, Leon, call the police or something like that. And he was like, okay, don't die or something like that. I need you to be alive. And then Rick was like sad because he was injured or something. But then they had to move to a hospital because that's where the next scene was. And then in the door, a lot of important things were about to happen. Really important things. She was like, okay, so I brought you some flowers. We all pitched in with some money, and we got some flowers, or just this plant thing. It's all honestly really heavy and kind of ugly. It's really large. I'm just going to set it here. No harm done. So I got nothing else really to do. I'm just going to leave. And then he left. It's good. He's like, did you steal that from your grandma's or something like that? Because that's my line. And then he looked over at the plant, and it was kind of the same as before. He's like, I gotta stand up because I think I was in a coma. But then he fell down because he was just in a coma a minute ago. And he started to get back up again to try to get over. But then he fell down again because he was in a coma, like I said before. But then a mysterious stranger was about to help him. It was Big Boss. He was like, Snake, I can help you. Wait, where's this place? You're thinking of Metal Gear Solid 5. It's just around the corner, honestly. You should be able to go to the hospital there or spend him Snake. Oh, sorry, I went to the wrong place. I'll sit down here. That's all I can really do now. But then it was really bad outside because there were a whole bunch of zombies, but Rick didn't know that. And he stepped out and was like, oh no, what could have caused this? This is really bad. So then he was like, don't open dead inside. That's some really shoddy work. Who wrote that? It was me, actually. And then he looked through a window, and then it turns out it was a dead guy. He didn't know what was happening, so it was just a dead guy. He was like, oh, I better get out of here. I have to find an explanation. He hit the elevator buttons, it didn't work, and then he was going to the stairs, but it was super dark, so you couldn't really see anything, so then he got out his light that he just got from his hand. I don't know where he got that from, that's pretty cool. And he saw the exit sign, and it's lit here, but still, anyway, he was like, oh, cool, I can leave now. But then when he got outside, he was like, oh my goodness, because he saw something really bad. That bad stuff was a whole bunch of dead people on the floor he didn't know who it was from. It was even more dead people that he was standing near. But it's okay, because he moved over to a helicopter that was not working anymore. Then he went over near to the city, and then it turns out that there was a bicycle that he could hopefully get on if he was well enough. And then he was well enough to ride on it for a little because he knew how to ride a bicycle. But then a bicycle, like half a zombie thing, was down there, and he fell over. And then he realized that he was like sad for it or something. So he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry for your case," or something like that. So then he saw another guy standing over there. He was like, "Nothing bad could possibly happen at all right now." But then, yeah, Duane. That's Duane. He hit him with a shovel. He's like, Morgan was like, "Hey, that's really bad for you to do, Duane. Don't hit people like that." "Excuse me, sir, can you speak," or something like that. He was like, "Yeah, I can speak. I'm pretty fine, actually." And he was like, "Were you bitten? That's really bad. We're gonna have to kill you." But then, unfortunately, he fell over because he was unconscious. And yes, Duane is a box of cornflakes. He's gonna be gone soon anyway, so don't worry. So then at their house, he was like, "Hey, sorry about that. I need to ask if you were bit." He was like, "Is shot not enough?" "No, I was just shot, not bit or anything." He was like, "Sorry, I hit you over there, person guy. I can't really aim well. I have no arms." So then Morgan was like, "Okay, you're bit, but if you try to kill anyone, I will kill you with this knife. I don't think I won't." So they let Rick free, and they went over to the dinner table to have some dinner. So then he was like, "Duane, do you want to say a prayer?" And he was like, "Sure, thank you, God, for making me a box of cereal. I taste delicious. Excuse me, can you explain some stuff?" "Okay, yeah, I really need to know what happened. I was in a coma." "Okay, so basically, if you get bit, you get a fever, and then you die. Then you come back to life, and then you start killing people, eating them. Basically like zombies. Kind of like my son, Duane. He got bit earlier. I didn't tell him. And then, yeah, my wife died sad. That's really sad and all, but is it hypocritical for me to eat a box of Cheerios considering your son is cornflakes?" "Wait, I got bitten? That's bad." Yeah, Duane, you got bitten. Yes, you can eat the cereal." And they went over to the police department because they needed to get some guns. And they found some guns. Yeah, they are. Like, they were a lot stolen, but they're still here. But some of them are still here anyway. Yeah, that's good. But then as they had to leave, they had to go, and they met that other guy that was from before. That was the Leon guy. Hey, that was the other Leon guy, not the Morgan guy. He had to shoot him, and then he died because he was putting him out of his misery. And then he fell down. Yeah, the good stuff was happening here. So then where we last left off, there's that Morgan guy who was contemplating shooting his wife because she was a zombie. Yeah, with some rounds, not actually a sniper rifle. And he was like, "I can't really do it." By the way, this is Duane's last appearance by Cornflakes. And then all of a sudden Rick was like, "Hey, I found a bicycle with that bicycle thing there." And he was like, I probably gotta shoot this thing to be like humane or something like that. Sorry it had to be this way." So then he got out his RPG. Yeah, he got an RPG from somewhere, I don't know where. And then he shot it a little overkill, but then he started to try to ride the bike. He forgot how in the last couple minutes. And then he found a horse, which I need to light up so you could see very well. And then he got on the horse that, then they flew away. The end. Except it wasn't really the end. But then Morgan was having like some sadness. But then he got a call on the radio. It was SpongeBob, who was Carl, and Alyx, who was Sophia, and Lori, who was Jill. And then she was like, "Hey, is my husband Rick there?" And Morgan was like, no, he's alive." And then she was like, "Okay, thanks. That's all I really need to know." They won't appear in the rest of the video. But then Rick made his way to the city place. That was really cool. So then he went on to the horse, and he tried to go forward, but the issue was that he couldn't go forward because there were a whole bunch of cars. But then there's some zombies. Oh no, they're actually a threat now. What were the characters going to do? The horse was like, "Hey, I'm going to sacrifice myself so you can get away, Rick. Don't use my death in vain," or something like that. So what he did was he jumped in front of them, and he sacrificed himself. Yeah, that's how it worked out. I don't know how that happened. And he was like, "Whatever shall I do now?" It's not like there's an escape way, and I couldn't exactly find a tank in my items, so I had to take a couple liberties and just put a huge ladder to the top. So then Rick climbed the ladder, and there was a zombie dead guy, I think, and then there was a grenade that was going to be used in the 6th episode. So then he picked up the grenade, but the soldier was zombie guy was like, "Oh no, I'm going to be alive." But then he used the gun in his hand. You can't really see it very well. I'm not really good with this. But then he shot him, but then his ears were hurting, and then he decided to sit down because his ears were hurting. And then all of a sudden the clock rang, and then he figured that he should answer, and he was like, "Hey, who is this?" And then the clock was like, "Hey, you comfortable? Because there's a lot of zombies there." And then there's the shot with the zombies overhead, and the camera slowly going up. I didn't want to add too many because I would slow down my computer. And then next episode is eventually, don't know when,